Round 2 of the NFL playoffs this weekend. The Miz's picks in a league where they play for pay. And we're really getting down to it. And I cut the music because we're going to get serious. There are 4 games this weekend for the right to move on to the Final Four in the NFL, the NFC Championship and the AFC Championship, where you could almost taste the champagne as you become 4 quarters away from the Super Bowl, but you must win this game first. And this is where the games get really, really hard. Very tough. It's time to grind it and pour your blood and sweat into these games, and the team that wants it the most will be standing at the end of 4 quarters. Game number 1. We go to Kansas City, where the Jacksonville Jaguars come to Kansas City. Very young Jaguars team led by Lawrence. Coming off of a very impressive win after Lawrence had 4 interceptions and they had another fumble that was 5 turnovers. Down 21-0, still managed to come back to win this game. And that tells you something about how great this quarterback Lawrence is going to be. And the Jaguars are going to Kansas City, and the Kansas City Chiefs, we all know, are a fully loaded animal looking to go to their 5th straight AFC title game. That is impressive. The Kansas City Chiefs are home. I believe they're calling for temperatures in the low 30s, where the chance of freezing rain mix, so there might be a little winter precipitation in this game. Nonetheless, the Kansas City Chiefs are minus 8.5. That's a big spread for a playoff game. I believe the Jaguars are going to give them 3 good quarters, but the Kansas City Chiefs will pull away and break away with this game in the early 4th quarter. And at the end of the game, I believe the Kansas City Chiefs will cover this spread. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs 30-20. They'll cover the 8.5. I'll take the Kansas City Chiefs minus 8.5. Obviously, you could buy it down to 7.5 or even 7. Play it safe. Game number 2 in the AFC. We're going to Orchard Park, New York. Western New York, home of the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills have been banging on the door for 2 years now. And they believe that this is their year. And a lot has happened to this team. They've been through a lot of adversity this year with the blizzards and the traveling and being stuck in Detroit for 2 straight weeks. Then they were hit by another blizzard after Christmas where people had died in Buffalo. And then you had the young kid suffer a heart stoppage on the field. And it was a scary scene. And he'll be in the stadium on the field watching the game this week, in front of that crazy hungry Buffalo stadium. And the Buffalo Bills have so much to play for. There'll be a lot of emotions in this game, and it happens to be the game where the kid had collapsed versus Cincinnati. It's Buffalo and Cincinnati again, and they're going to play the game that they never got to play. The Buffalo Bills are minus 5.5 in this game. A lot of people like Cincinnati to keep it close. I think Cincinnati's a really good team, and they're going to give the Bills a good game. But at the end of the day, I'm going to take this 5.5, and I'm going to tell you to take it down to 4.5. And I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills minus 4.5. This week I'm focused more on straight-up games, who I think is going to win. I like Buffalo Bills to win this game and move on to the AFC Championship, where we will see Buffalo and Kansas City. Just as we all thought, a rematch of last year. It wasn't the AFC title game, but it was the best playoff game in the playoffs. And that's why we're gonna run it back again. Buffalo and Kansas City at a neutral site. I'm here in Atlanta. I don't like that the games at the Dome for 2 cold weather teams. I don't like that at all. But that being said, I like the Chiefs and Bills next week in the AFC title game. On to the NFC. The NFC conference, where the teams are usually more intense in the playoffs. And you got yourself 2 monster games. 3 out of the 4 teams in the NFC East are there. And the San Francisco 49ers are right now have won 10 in a row, are on a runaway train, and might be all around the best team in football. But you play the games. And the Dallas Cowboys are coming off a beatdown of Tampa Bay. And Dallas has a 1-2 punch in the run game built for January. I've been saying this all year. And the Dallas Cowboys have a front seven led by a fierce pass rush in Micah Parsons and Lawrence. And that's the exact type of pass rush that could derail any offense in the league. The type of pass rush that could carry you through a postseason. The Cowboys are going into San Fran. The Niners are loaded with weapons, but the rookie quarterback scares me a little bit. They've won 10 in a row. They haven't lost in a long time. And the rookie quarterback is playing great as he's surrounded with an elite team. But it's hard for me to believe that a rookie's going to go all the way through the postseason without making a major mistake. And this is the exact type of hungry Cowboys team that's due. And the outside pass rushers are the type that are going to pressure this rookie. He's going to get hit often. He's going to feel it. And I believe it could lead to a strip fumble or an interception. I'm picking the upset here. I'm going with a gut feeling. Call me a year late. Last year I predicted Dallas would make a deep run day. I was off. I was a year off. The Dallas Cowboys are going to go into San Fran and they're going to upset the Cowboys. The San Francisco 49ers. The Cowboys will win this game outright, taking the NFC themselves into the NFC Championship. A date that Jerry Jones has been waiting for over 2.5 decades. I like the Cowboys in this game. I think it's going to be a physical defensive war. I think both NFC games are going to be more defensive than people expect, as the NFC games usually are later in the postseason. I like the Cowboys. Give me the Dallas Cowboys in this game. Give me the Dallas Cowboys. 20-17. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. The New York Football Giants magically appear in the second round in the NFL playoffs. They've climbed out of the slumbers, out of the woodworks where people left them 6 feet under for dead. They grabbed a shovel and inched their way out. And here we are. The Giants are coming off a slapping, and the score might not show it, but the Giants went all up and down the field on Minnesota and beat them up offensively. Daniel Jones stepped to a whole nother level of football last week. And what he did is took this entire fan base, when the half of the fan base wasn't happy with him and didn't really want him around anymore, he's got the entire fan base in the palm of his hands. And we are 100% all in. And Daniel Jones is bordering top level of quarterbacks. Maybe a year away. Maybe they'll get him the weapons. That's for another day. The confidence this team is playing with, the swagger, is dangerous. They're physical. They're clicking on all cylinders offensively. Their defensive line is a beast. And Dexter Lawrence is hands down the best defensive lineman in the NFL. More so. He is dominating the trenches. And he is wrecking football games along with Leo. And you got Kayvon off the edge. Azeez off the other edge. And having a McKinney and a Dory Jackson back for this Eagle game is huge, as the Eagles did not get to see those two players this year, and they didn't see Leo either. Now, once this year did the Eagles see Leo, Azeez, Adoree Jackson, and Xavier McKinney. And if you don't think that matters, you watch tomorrow. The Giants are coming in with house money. All the pressure in the world is on the Eagles. 14-3. And if they don't win, it's a fucking disaster. And if the Eagles find themselves in a grinded out game earlier and they actually fall behind, the longer the game goes that way, you're going to see the Eagle fans drinking from 8 in the morning to 8 at night are going to be ready. And they will turn on that Eagle team if something goes wrong early real quick. Because that's who they are. And the intensity and the tension in that stadium is going to build and build and build. And it's all going to be on Hurts, along with his shoulder, which we all know is not so well. And the Giants are going to send the sink and test it out. Can he hold up for a hit from Dexter? Or Kayvon or Leo? Well, we're going to find out. Landon Collins, who likes to hit you to knock the snots out of you. The Giants secondary, I believe, can play with these receivers. I would get up on the line of scrimmage and jam them. And Wink's going to send the blitzes from all over the place. He may not start the game out that way, but he's going to bring it as the game goes. As for the Giants, I think they got to pound the rock this game and find their opportunities to take some shots. But you know each week Dabo's had an offensive secret hidden that he's implemented into the game each week. And I believe he's got something hidden for the Eagles. And I think one of the smartest things the Giants did this year was that they kept players out of those Eagles games. And they rested Barkley for 3 straight weeks. He has not taken on a load. And even last week, Dabo went into the game saying Daniel Jones can win me this game with his arm and legs, 78 yards rushing, 302 passing. He said, I'm not going to run Barkley this game. I'm going to put him in a slot and let him play wide out. And he's not even going to see the ball that much. He's going to be more of a decoy. Why? Because they were reserving Barkley for a big load tomorrow night versus the Eagles. And Barkley is as fresh as if it was mid-August. The Eagles are a tough team. They're 14-3. There's a history behind this game. In 2008, the Giants were the number 1 seed in the NFC. They had a bye week. The Eagles came in the second round into the Giants Stadium and knocked the Giants out, wrecked their season. A lot of Giant fans remember it. And this is the exact reverse. And the Giant fan base is looking for a payback. The Giants are 6-0 versus first seeds in their history. 9-1 in championship and Super Bowl games. And they've had 3 of these magical runs in 1990, 2007 and 2011, where they weren't supposed to go anywhere near. They got their foot into the door, into the playoffs, and off they went. They got hot and went on a magical ride, and you're almost seeing it again. But I can't say it's the same unless the Giants get through tomorrow night. There's little things that may not matter that much. 2007, Eli was in his 4th year. He'd made the run. This is Jones' 4th season. We're going to see tomorrow night if he can make the run. Both Super Bowl years were in Glendale, Arizona. So is this one. Hey, there's one thing you got to admit with this Giants team when they come out of nowhere, when no one even thought about them. And they sneak in and suddenly out of nowhere, without even realizing, they become a monster. Magical rides. These magical historic runs by the Giants seem to be in their DNA like no other organization in the NFL. And every few years, the Giants go mess around and end up in a Super Bowl. There's a lot of pressure on the Eagles because they're supposed to win this game all year long. They've dominated, but the last 4 or 5 weeks, the Eagles have faded away. There's been injuries, and they've lost their level of football. Can they regain it in one night? We'll find out. The Giants have been trending upwards over the last few weeks. They've peaked at the highest level of football that they've played in years. And Daniel Jones has full command of this team. And there are hungry players on this team. And they are physical, they are intense, they pour their heart on the field, and they don't stop till the final whistle goes off. They're young and they're going to bring it for 4 full quarters. The Giants are a dangerous team. Because if the Giants lose tomorrow night, they had a great season and the future looks bright. But if the Eagles lose tomorrow night, it's the biggest disaster in football. And their fan base will explode on them. And for 10 years, the Giants have been taking abuse. And tomorrow night, the Giants can reverse an entire decade of pain and harassment from the Eagles and wreck their season and put a fucking hole in the Eagles' history. It's all right there on one field 4 quarters, one night. The Giants are a dangerous team. And they're coming in fully confident and playing real strong football. I believe this game's going to come down to the interior of both defensive lines. The Eagles have Jordan Davis and Cox. The Giants have Leo Williams and All-Pro Dexter Lawrence. And I believe those 4 players are going to decide this game in the trenches. And obviously both offensive lines against those defensive tackles. That's where this game's going to be won and lost. These two teams are a fierce rival and the fan base hates each other. And tomorrow night, this should be a war. Appreciate this game. An NFC East old school punch you in the face backyard brawl for 4 quarters. The New York Giants are plus 7.5 as they are every single playoff game. They're always the dog, just like they were in 07. The Eagles are favored by 7.5. The New York Football Giants are going in tomorrow night and they're winning this football game. Give me the Giants. Give me the Giants. 24-22. Take the under 48. 24-22 New York Football Giants. Their defense shuts the door when it matters the most. That's the picks for second round of the NFL playoffs. Enjoy the week. I'm The Miz.